Chapter 24. Zero-Day Exploit. The city was a circuit board and Arthur Vane was a broken logic gate. He walked south on Broadway, keeping his head down, blending into the morning rush of commuters. They were efficient little packets of data, rushing to their ports, offices, coffee shops, subway stations. Arthur was malware. He was a corrupt file moving through the system, waiting to be quarantined. He passed an electronics store. A bank of televisions in the window was broadcasting CNBC. The chiron at the bottom of the screen caught his eye. It was red. Breaking news. Massive data breach at Client X. Millions of financial records exposed. Robin Hood. Hacker dumps proprietary algorithms online. Arthur stopped. He stared at the screen. A reporter was standing outside his old office building. She looked serious. Sources say the leak originated from an internal terminal early this morning. The data dump, which includes sensitive encryption keys, has rendered the company's security infrastructure virtually useless. Stock is down 40% in pre-market trading. Arthur felt a flicker of the Lyrica euphoria. 40%. That was a significant variable adjustment. Then the image on the screen changed. It was a photo of him. It was his ID badge photo. He looked younger, healthier, but the eyes were the same, intense, unblinking. Wanted for questioning, Arthur Vane, former director of data strategy. A woman next to him on the sidewalk gasped. She looked at the TV, then at Arthur. She saw the ruined suit, the grime, the dilated pupils. "Oh my God," she whispered. She reached for her phone. Arthur didn't run. Running attracted attention. Running was inefficient. He turned and walked into the crowd. He moved with the fluid, erratic rhythm of the city. He ducked into a subway entrance, Canal Street. He jumped the turnstile, his long legs scissoring over the metal bar. He ran down the stairs. A train was arriving. The queue. He squeezed through the closing doors. He stood in the corner of the car, breathing hard. Status check. Anonymity. Compromised. Resources, 0. Inventory, 0. Chemical buffer, degrading. The Lyrica he had taken on the sidewalk was holding the line, but he could feel the edges fraying. The wobble was turning into a shake. The confidence was curdling into paranoia. He needed a base of operations. He needed cash. He looked at the passengers. A businessman was asleep in the seat across from him. He had a leather briefcase on his lap. His grip was loose. Arthur looked at the briefcase. Logic gate. Option A. Maintain ethical baseline. Result. Starvation/arrest. Option B. Acquire asset. Result. Survival. The high IQ Arthur would have analyzed the risk-reward ratio and found it unacceptable. The director Arthur would have been disgusted. But this Arthur, the Arthur with the hollow stomach and the screaming nerves, only saw a loot box. The train screeched into DeKalb Avenue. The announcement dinged. Arthur lunged. He grabbed the briefcase handle. He yanked. The businessman woke up with a shout. "Hey!" He held on. It was a tug of war. Arthur didn't fight fair. He didn't have the muscle mass, but he had the desperation. He kicked the man in the shin with his dress shoe. The man cried out and let go. The doors opened. Arthur sprinted. He ran up the stairs, the briefcase banging against his leg. He heard shouting behind him. "Stop him! Thief!" He burst out onto the street in Brooklyn. He ran down a side street. He vaulted a fence into a construction site. He hid behind a dumpster, his chest heaving, his heart hammering a frantic, arrhythmia tattoo against his ribs. He opened the briefcase. Contents: a Dell laptop, locked, a stack of file folders, legal briefs, a granola bar, a wallet. Arthur grabbed the wallet. He threw the briefcase into the dumpster. He opened the bifold leather. Cash, $80. Credit cards, 3, useless, tracking vectors. ID Michael S. Arthur took the $80. He took the granola bar. He dropped the wallet into a sewer grate. $80. It wasn't a fortune. It wasn't $84,000. But on the street, $80 was a lifeline. He ate the granola bar in 2 bites. Tasted like sawdust, but his stomach stopped cramping. Now he needed the medicine. He couldn't go back to the Bronx. The bodega on Pitkin was too far, and the police were looking for him. He needed a local source. He walked out of the construction site. He was in Fort Greene. He knew where to look. He didn't need the dark web. He needed the visible web of addiction. He walked toward the park. He scanned the benches. He saw them, the nodders, the opioid users. He approached a man who was awake, scratching his neck. "I need Johnny's," Arthur said. His voice was no longer the smooth baritone of the boardroom. It was a jagged, desperate rasp. The man looked at him. 80. For how many? For 10. 600s. 10 pills. 600 milligrams each. 6,000 milligrams total. That was a day and a half. Maybe 2. Done, Arthur said. He handed over the stolen money. The man handed him a blister pack. It was foil-wrapped. Neurontin. Arthur didn't wait. He popped 2 pills out of the foil and swallowed them dry right there in the park. He sat on a bench, waiting for the relief. But as he sat there, watching the pigeons, a new thought occurred to him. A terrifying, logical deduction. The timeline. He had committed grand larceny. He had committed cyber-terrorism. He was a fugitive. The drugs weren't a solution anymore. They were just a pause button. And eventually the pause button would break. Arthur looked at the blister pack. 8 pills left. He stood up. He started walking. He didn't know where to go. He just knew he couldn't stop. Because if he stopped, the silence would end. And if the silence ended, he would have to hear the truth. That Arthur Vane was already gone. Deleted. And what was left was just a glitch, running in a loop, waiting to crash.